What's going on, Bucs fans? You're watching Bucs Breakdown by Chat Sports. My name is Reid Bartkus. Wherever you're watching, whenever you're watching, hope you're having a great day. Coming up on today's show, we did another Buccaneers mock draft with a little bit of a twist. Producer Colin, you hear that? My phone's ringing. We got a team on the phone. You asked for it. I saw your comments. I did a video about a mock draft, about all the mock drafts that people have been doing, about Keionte Scott being mocked to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got a team on the phone that wants the number 15 overall pick. You guys said we should trade back, and that's what we did. We got a little plethora of picks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers by giving up number 15 to the Houston Texans because Nick Caserio, like Howie Roseman, he's big on draft day trades, loves them. So I said, hey, how about you get on the phone? You give us a bunch of picks. We go back to 28 with the second-round pick in 59 and a fifth-round pick in 167. We did the draft value trade chart that is out there online, and it was pretty close. So this could be a realistic trade that we do in the 2026 draft if Jason Licht decides to trade back. So what do we do with these extra picks now? This is fun, right? Come on, this is pretty fun. So the Bucs updated draft picks. We've got round 1, pick 28 from Houston. Still keep our round 2, pick 46. Get that second round pick in 59, and then 77, 116, 155. Pick up that extra fifth round pick in 167. And then we get the 195, 229. 9 total picks after the Houston trade. Now, before we get into the mock draft and you see who we're picking, be honest with me. Love hearing from you guys. What would you do with the number 15 overall pick? Would you trade it, or would you stay pat and not do anything and you just pick who is there on the board? Please let me know down in the comments section. I want to see what you, because last video I saw way too many comments that were like, we got to trade back. There's nobody there that we would want. We don't want a Keionte Scott. We don't want, Cassius Howell or anything like that. So I said, hey, you know what? It's all about you guys. I like doing what you guys like to do. So that's what we're doing here on today's show. All right, make sure you answer that question, and we'll get on with the first pick in the 2026 NFL mock draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Pick 28 is C.J. Allen. When I saw him still there at 28, I was so excited. This guy is great. Now, he's a 6'1", 235-pound linebacker. The mentality that this guy has is unbelievable. Yes, the stats are good, but this guy is the epitome of what a aggressive, just gritty linebacker is. His coverage stats are great, yes, but man, I know we wanted to get bigger, but this guy is 88 tackles. I mean, sometimes I'm at a loss for words because the fact that he is still there at pick 28, I was very, very excited. And our Houston Texans host, Jeremy Chuggs, he said the Texans have been wanting to get C.J. Allen at that pick 28. So I'm very, very happy. But our scouting report on him from Tom Downey, reads the run very well, can organize the defense, and bring some juice as a blitzer. Tore his meniscus last season, had surgery, and returned 13 days later. Better instincts in run support than coverage. But what I was saying is more, he is very smart. Like he be your green dot guy, your Lavonte David replacement. But, I mean, he is the type of linebacker that you want to build a foundation on because, yes, you have guys who can produce well. Yes, Sonny Styles, an athletic freak. But this guy, C.J. Allen, he wants to be on the field. He got injured, and he immediately wanted to get that surgery to get back on the field. That's what we're looking for. Now, Dane Brugler from The Athletic brings out the beast. It's a scouting report for the NFL draft. We'll be looking at a lot of what he has to say. He said Allen has reliability issues in zone coverage, but he's a speedy flow and scrape linebacker who is quick to trigger and be around the football. He projects as an NFL starter who can make a Nick Bolton-like impact. That's pretty great. But he's got a great mentality. He's got a great head on his shoulders and screams what it means to be a Buccaneer. If you're looking for that Lavonte David replacement or somebody who can fill in that role and just have a good head on his shoulders, a guy that your teammates can rely on, if you not forget a play, but more of just that camaraderie and I guess I'm blanking on the word, but more of just a guy that everyone can revolve around in the locker room, on the field, and look to. Because when he was at Georgia, he was a freshman starter, which does not happen a lot. So Kirby Smart, on his mentality, he said he practices so hard. He wants to win so bad. I don't know that I've seen that a kid care more about the team performance. Great leader, and I appreciate the work he puts into it. Like I was saying earlier, this is your Levante David replacement. A guy with that mentality, wants to be on the field, wants his team to win. Doesn't care about his personal stats. He wants the team to win. Does that remind you of anyone? He literally wanted to get the surgery as soon as he got that meniscus tear so that he could get on the field quicker. And he wanted to play in those last games to make sure that he was with his teammates and finish out his career because that's how much he loves. And Kirby Smart does not start a lot of freshmen, especially at the linebacker position. We know Georgia linebackers, that's a huge thing. He started his freshman year. That's big. I want that guy. And you get him at 28, it's pretty great. Now, moving on to round 2, pick number 46. Oh, man. Honestly, guys, I'm very happy I listened to you because seeing about how many picks we have in this draft, it's awesome. But in round 2, pick 46, I think you guys might be a little surprised at this, but Tampa Bay Buccaneers are selecting Chase Bisontis, guard from Texas A&M. This guy is huge. 6'5", 315 pounds. We said in the offseason, and Jason Licht, Todd Bowles said it, you want to get bigger. Whether that be on defense or on offense, Colin, I think 6'5", 313 is pretty large, man. And he's only 21 years old, which is great. We want that younger. He's ranked as the second guard by Dane Brugler. But let's see the scouting report that Tom Downey has on him. Multi-year starter with a good frame and solid movement. Good hand usage if able to grip onto players. Gets himself into issues with leverage and length problems. So his arms are a little shorter than you'd like it to. So he does have a little bit of a lunging problem. But that could be taught out of him a little bit. You know, get him in the room with a good developing O-line coach. You can drill that out of him. But last year, obviously, overall PFF grade. Now PFF is not the Bible. It is, if you see a low grades, yes, that's okay. But Dane Brugler from The Athletic has him ranked as the second best overall guard in this draft, which I love. But I mean, I know you guys are probably thinking right now, why are we drafting a guard at this point in the draft with our second pick? This is worth it. We need depth, and you can develop this guy into a starter. So Dane Brugler has this to say on Bisontis. He's a burly, sawed-off blocker with a body quickness and core strength to get upper hand in all phases. He projects as an eventual NFL starter and has traits that will speak to both zone and power schemes. So maybe, yes, we have needs on defense, but making that trade, we get a guy like this at a very valuable pick. And looking at this offensive line, it's a top 10, top 15 squad, I think. I mean, this unit is good. We know this. And they didn't get to play a game together last year, all of them together. So when you bring in a guy like Bisontis, he's, like I said before, he's the second best guard in this draft, according to Dane Brugler. So at pick 46, it's too good not to select. Now, Jason Licht and Todd Bowles, they are not afraid of drafting the best player available at that position. Last year, drafting Emeka Egbuka, we're like, we don't need a wide receiver, but he's there. We don't technically need a guard, but we don't want last year to happen again where you don't have a core group of guys that are good backups. Yes, Truk is good and Dan Feeney's good, but like getting more depth in the offensive line is never a bad deal. And at pick 46, getting a guy like Chase Bisontis, that's good. And now that we have more picks, got to do it. All right, moving on to round 2. This is our pick from Houston. Now, I was kind of deciding what to do at this pick because there were a couple options here, but I figured it'd be a little bit better to go back on the defensive side of the ball, not on the trenches, but in the air, in the secondary. I went with cornerback Keionte Scott from Miami, the 6', 192-pound safety or DB slash nickel. 44 tackles last year, an interception, 5 PBUs on a very good Miami defense. The scouting report on him, he's wildly productive with a nickel in the backfield and plays well above his weight class. Didn't allow many yards last year, though it was heavily in short area coverage. Will miss tackles despite his willingness, so he's aggressive, but I like that out of a guy who really plays in the nickel, and I'll get to that in a second when we look at that depth chart. But last year, I mean, Colin, you're good. We're good on that. But, I mean, Keionte Scott, man, if you're talking about wanting to get better on defense, Keionte Scott does that for you. You get some more depth in that secondary room. And Dane Brugler on him says, Scott offers a unique blend of quick processing and decisive speed that makes him a natural fit as an attacking nickel. Although some schemes might view him as too specialized outside of sub-packages, along with special teams, he can give you an NFL defense meaningful snaps in the right situation. So obviously you're not going to get a starting NFL quarterback right in the third round or second round, I'm sorry. And when going back to that nickel position, Jacob Parrish, he did well in the nickel. But Benjamin Morrison, his injury history, he had an okay year last year. But if you draft Keionte Scott and put him in the nickel and move Jacob Parrish to QB2, Zion McCollum obviously is going to be your QB1 or CB1. I don't hate that. And you bring in Benjamin Morrison and maybe move Jacob Parrish to nickel and maybe move Keionte Scott to the outside as well. You have some versatility there in that room. And Keionte Scott, getting him with that extra round 2 pick, I love it. I love it. Keep it on the defense as well. All right, round 3, pick number 77. Moving on. You guys, I don't know if you guys are going to like this one, but I like this one. There's a value pick in this one. Round 3, pick 77. We're going back on the offense. Max Klare, tight end out of Ohio State. No, we're skipping on Kenyon Sadiq because we traded our pick. We traded back, so we're not drafting Kenyon Sadiq because a lot of people in the other video that I talked about was like, no, we don't need a tight end. We re-signed Cade Otton. Let's take a look at Max Klare because he has some real upside. I love the mentality on this guy. Willing blocker for sure, but at 6'5", 243, it can only go up from here. He's a little bit slimmer in the frame, but the guy can make plays. He's fast. And last year playing at Ohio State, 43 receptions, 448 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 drops. Now, he's not going to be your big play guy, but I do feel like he was held back at Ohio State. Ohio State had some guys that you need to feed the ball to, like Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith. So I think he didn't get as many opportunities as you think you could. So that's why I say the ceiling is high for him, and the foundation is very, very good. You get him in a good room. I mean, think about, so I think he was, how much did he weigh? About 243, Colin? 243? 243. 243. He came into his freshman year at 216. So if you think about that, the guy knows what he has to do, gets the work done. And so you bring him into that room and you mold him into a better tight end. You bring him into that tight end room that can sort of bring some versatility to it. I know that's a big word in the draft realm, but it is true. You bring some versatility, bring some competition into that room. I love it. You can't have more. Always have a good guy that can make a catch and play well. You know what I mean? Moving on to round 4, number 116. I went back to the defensive side of the ball, and I got edge rusher out of Iowa, Max Llewellyn. Now, this guy, he's not going to wow you in terms of his speed or athleticism. More of a gritty Iowa type of guy. When you think of Iowa, you think of, some hay bale throwers and stuff like that. He is aggressive. He's strong, but he's very physical. But he's not gonna wow you in terms of the speed coming off the edge or anything like that. Dane Brugler from The Athletic had this to say about Llewellyn. He needs to improve as a run defender if he wants to be an every down NFL defender. But his relentlessness, high effort pass rush will give him a chance to find a long-term role. He projects as a sub-package defensive end at the next level. So sort of what I was alluding to in terms of he's very physical, but there's nothing that's special about him. If you look at his RAS score, 8.17, that's very good. He ran a 4.8, but at 6'5", he's more of that bruiser guy. And not going to wow you in terms of how good he is, you know what I mean? But the mentality and that relentlessness that he has on the defensive line, that's what you need in terms of, getting to the passer and stuff like that. So when we look at the linebacker depth chart, I think he would slot in pretty well in terms of trying to get just a guy who wants to get after it and not fill holes, because obviously that's what Dane Brugler had said. He needs to work on his run defense, but he's got a high cut frame with tapered lowers, so he appears maxed out. So we can't really develop him anymore, but if you can get better at just being a average good, sub-package defensive lineman, you get that in round 4, I'm very happy with that. So moving on to round 5, pick 155, I went with, drum roll please, another defensive guy, Mr. Jimmy Rolder, linebacker out of Michigan, 6'2", 240. Once again, not going to wow you when you get to the later rounds, day 3 picks. Nobody's going to wow you in terms of athleticism or anything like that, but you get guys who want it. You know what I mean? So Dane Brugler on Rolder, he says, needs to iron out his over-aggressiveness tendencies. So like I was saying, it can get a little bit too much when you're overly aggressive. But he plays with ascending instincts and the reactive athleticism to make plays in the NFL. If healthy, he will be an immediate contributor on special teams and offer the potential to become a weak side starter. He also led Michigan in tackles in 2025 and would be a great special teams guy. Now, like I said, in the later rounds, like round 5, round 6, round 7, you're not going to get guys that are starters, but you want guys that have that foundation where you can build up, and sort of the mentality is what you want. And I feel like Jimmy Rolder, if he's already willing to be on special teams, that's how he could slot in terms of being that guy that you can look to that is always going to be aggressive and want to make a play. You know what I mean? And he's got a 9.5 RAS score. So got the athleticism and can work on becoming more part of a rotation, and having that relentlessness is very, very good when you get into the later rounds of the NFL draft. Moving on to round 5, 167 from Houston. We stay on the defensive side of the ball and go with another Big Ten guy in Kaden Curry. Now, I know we say we want defense, but we go a little bit very heavy on defense with Kaden Curry. But anybody coming from Ohio State, now he was dropped down a little bit on the depth chart throughout the year. So he started last year, but he's a bit smaller. But he has good strength and good play style. You're sensing a theme here. Now, Kaden Curry is not all that, but he's got that relentlessness. And when you're an edge rusher and a pass rusher, that's what we're looking for towards the later rounds of the year. Or later rounds of the draft. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but that's what we're wanting. We want just a good plethora of guys that we can plug in, because that's what we need. We just need more people. And Kaden Curry last year, 66 tackles, 16 and a half tackles for loss, 11 sacks. 11 sacks in the Big Ten, that's pretty big. 46 pressures. So I go with Kaden Curry, but I want to ask you guys this. How many defensive players do you want the Bucs to draft this year? Because that's a big thing that I was thinking of in this draft. When you have more picks and you have a more ability to draft guys on the defensive side of the ball, because that's what we're sort of targeting. How many do you guys want? Let me know down in the comment section. If however many I do is how many you want, just say you're so smart. Or go in there and say, hey, you're so dumb. We need more offensive side or offensive people or defense. Please let me know down in the comment section. Moving on to the last two picks. We'll just go back to back with these, Cullen Brown, because when you get to the later rounds, it's a little you're stretching thin about trying to find some guys. But talk about stretching thin, a longer, lengthier cornerback. Latrell McCutchen Sr., the Houston Cougar. Watching some film on him, he is a lot lengthier, and he's a willing tackler too, which is good coming in at corner and just proving yourself in the NFL as well. Dane Brugler had this to say on McCutchen. He's an NFL-level athletic traits and passionate toughness for the game, but his coverage anticipation needs to catch up quickly once he gets into camp. He has the tools to compete for a job on punt coverages as well. So that's pretty good when you're getting down to the later rounds. And he kind of slots in as a potential, I guess, in camp, just competitiveness. Yeah, throwing another guy in here that just can provide for depth, which as well in round 7 with our last pick in the mock draft of 2026 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we go with Dalton Johnson, a safety out of Arizona. Now I know we did 3 secondary guys, and I know that's not the biggest need, but I think depth in that position is needed as well. And Dalton Johnson has that same type of mentality. Dane Brugler said, Johnson lacks ideal size and coverage, but his speed and physicality will give him an opportunity to find an NFL home as a backup strong safety. His versatile experience in the secondary and on special teams only helps his chances. So there's a theme towards the end of this draft is I want guys who have that mentality that just want to get on the field, love football guys. That's what I feel like a Buccaneer is just I want to play as hard as I can for my team, and that's towards the end of this round or this draft is what I'm getting. And this safety depth chart, it's not terrible, but look into the future of a guy like Antoine Winfield who's getting a little bit older, the future of Tyke Smith, we don't know. Getting more secondary depth is never a problem. Now, grade my mock draft. I know it's a little different than last mock drafts that I've done because we did do that trade back. But adding more picks like this, you get a plethora of guys that, we signed a lot of older guys in free agency. So if that doesn't work, you get a bunch of guys here who have a potential of being very, very good for your team. So grade my mock draft in the comment section, A, B, C, D, or F. Please, if you think it's terrible, please let me know. And if you have any ideas of what you would do at these picks, please let me know. All right, don't miss a thing. The 2026 NFL draft is almost here. It's about 9 days away. So if you want more updates on the Bucs, who they're picking, who they're potentially picking, I'm going to do a reaction of Dane Brugler's mock draft, see who he has the Bucs taking at 15 and on. So subscribe and don't miss a thing because I'm going to be making videos all off season long. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button and it's 100% free. So if you don't like it in a week, you can leave. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But if you want some more content as well, go to Bucs Breakdown, IG, on Instagram. I post a lot of stuff on there as well. So if you just want some more extra content, always feel free to give us a follow at Bucs Breakdown IG. And as always, fire the cannons.